Chaitanyamatma. The soul keeps moving from one topic to another topic, uh, one point to another point, based on the stored impressions, which are categorized like sattva, rajasic, and tamasic. These impressions have been stored in a memory or in a database from the software angle. These impressions are stored in the memory, and based on the situations that we come across, the people we come across, things we come across, they interact. Uh, they interact with the impressions that have been stored for several lives, and based on the impressions, we respond to the world. This is how it happens, and this is how the Atma works. The Atma is consciousness, and based on its consciousness, that moves from one point to one point, and it behaves. This is soul or consciousness, and it is dynamic. So, which is what is Chaitanyamatma. Our faculties, like the karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, we sense the uh, objects in the world, and we process the data internally through intellect, um, mind, and then it goes and touches the memory, which is chitta, in which the impressions are stored, and whatever dominates based on if the intellect is not too strong, then the impressions will dominate, and based on that domination we respond to the world. This is how we respond in any of these three categories, like sattva, rajasic, or tamasic way. In Jivatma, consciousness moves from one point to one point, as said. Even with the super soul or the supreme soul, it's not a movement, but it throbs. It's like vibration, or it's like throb or vibration, or it's like this, like damaru. It just wavers very slightly, which is the very reason why the Shakti is produced out of the Supreme Soul, which is the actual Shakti that is taking care of the whole universe, which is the seabed of the whole universe, which is the very reason why when we all sleep we get energy from which. For normal souls, Jivatma, the movement will be so vast, the movement of the mind or the movement of the chitta is too vast, and it reduces, it keeps reducing, shrinks, and it just stays as it is, and then after staying as it is, it starts throbbing, the vibration, and when it vibrates like damaru, that's when it produces um, the Shakti. And as the sanskaras and the karma gets um, diminished or nullified, that's when it shrinks and then stays as is. That's when it throbs and then produces much more energy. Uh, that's how the Supreme Soul, generates the dynamic energy or Shakti, which is the one which is the one who is taking care of the whole universe, being the seabed. The first sutra, that is Chaitanyamatma, is also uh, is also connected with the following sutra, which is Jnanam Bandaha, which is the very reason why he introduces the topic, that is, it's only one consciousness. It's only one. It's united consciousness or integrated one, and the separation or the differentiation is the illusion. So that is what is mentioned in the first sutra, and then that leads you to the second sutra, which is Jnanam Bandaha. He says Jnanam Bandaha, in the sense, it's not it's not the jnanam that we perceive with the senses. The jnanam that we perceive, or the knowledge that we perceive with the senses, says that we are separated. Like any differentiation, this is like this, that is like that, this is not good, that is bad, he is good, she is not, behaving properly. All these differentiation, all the differences, actually um, get minimized, or they shrink, in the sense, as the sadhana goes, everything will be accepted, everything will be accepted, as in it lands up at a situation where there is no differentiation, all is well. It sounds like everything that's happening is good, everything that's happening for its own purpose, and everything is fine at its own state. That's when the non differentiation will be there. That non differentiation makes you behave, or perceive, or interact with the world in a very non differentiated way. Um, this is this the differentiated knowledge is bandha, in the sense, it is it is the one that is binding you. The differentiation is the one that is binding the souls. So how the differentiation can be avoided, how the non differentiation can be inculcated, is what is the sadhana, which will be further explained in the next sutras. The differentiated knowledge can be overcome by surrendering our mind initially, uh, and then uh, the intellect will also be uh, occupied by the supernatural power, in the sense, as you keep doing the sadhana, um, he will get into all the layers of your of your soul, and then he can even get into your body, in the sense, your mind, intellect, your soul, and even your body can be totally taken over by the supernatural power, or whoever you um, think of, like God or supernatural power, or whatever you call him. This is how the differentiation, the non-differentiation, can be overcome in it can be overcome in all layers. It just cannot happen in just one layer and then you experience something. No, it has to happen in all layers, and initially it is very difficult. Of course, you will be tested very badly to surrender your your manas, that is mind. Mind is not actually manas. Manas is different, of course, which cannot be explained in English. But then, mind, manas, your thoughts, everything, once they are surrendered to the supernatural power, um, he will test you if you are surrendered in all scenarios. Like, you may lose money, still you think of him. You may be feeling very hungry, still you think of him. In all scenarios, if you just cling to him, and then slowly he'll start ruling. That is how the light will get into the light will get into all layers of your personality, and then he will start manipulating the people, the situations around you as well. Initially, of course, you would have very bad scenarios. The kind of people around you would be very bad, and then later on, as the sadhana, the sadhana gets to the higher level, and as you keep surrendering in all these scenarios, in all these layers to the supernatural power, he will start ruling the scenarios and the people also around you, and the situations, people around you, your profession, your personal life, everything will be designed in such a way that they suit you, and then they suit you to again further to encourage you in your sadhana, and realize the self, and beyond the self also you can go much forward.